Good, good.
Good.
How's it going? Welcome
Good.
back.
Good. Yeah.
Nice trip to Nashville.
Yeah, we had a good time. It was good. Definitely some good sessions and some good. I didn't make it to the party there. I had come back. Had my niece's graduation on Saturday, so I was back Friday night for that. So, but yeah, good times.
Yeah, I miss going.
Welcome everybody. This is the reboot. Is that better, Brandon?
We are the reboot.
Okay.
I like the original. I just like giving you trouble about it. That's all.
All right. So today we're going to talk about leveraging platforms for project management. David was here. I think he's rebooting and going
He's
to rejoin. We'll
rebooting.
just add him back in.
Join
Yeah,
the reboot.
he is. He is. With that, Brian Bratchy being on PC Solutions out of Long Island, New York.
And Brandon Bowers out of Eisner Amper Managed Technology Services, sunny South Florida.
There we go. It's a
Sunny
long name.
today too.
It
So
is. There you go. We're up there today. We're on a heat wave here. So project management in general. I mean, we're going to talk about a couple of things. Whether or not first of all, what is it, and what and projects can be defined however you want internally. They can involve external people, third parties. They can get really uh, big in that regard. But some of the things we'll talk about are maybe some of the top features that you should be looking for in a project management software. We can give you some examples of that. Identifying if you actually need a project management software or something to facilitate. And chances are you do, and you may not even know it until you hear some of the features that will just make the process a lot easier and hold some accountability to people where it needs to be held. And we could talk about some pricing and what to expect to pay in ballparks, and go over some. We can name some of the vendors out there and some of the and give you some comparisons.
yeah.
But I think Brandon's chomping to get started here speaking, so let's let him go here.
Yeah, I mean, so for me, like project management changed a lot when I thought about it a little bit differently. It doesn't really matter what software you're using as long as you're using something. Because I mean, in all honesty, if you've got a good process in place, you could even use Excel and get by, depending on how many projects and things. It's just becomes more unwieldy to manage as you get more and more in larger projects. But um, for me, it's
Oh, just
it's
a
about
shout out to my buddy Trent. He's trying to say hello to me. He doesn't know how to use the chat feature. How you doing, Trent? All's good. Go ahead, continue.
I was just saying, I mean, process is number one where you want to start. You want to figure out what methodology works, because at the end of the day, if you don't have some sort of process together, no matter what system you're using, like accountability is going to become an issue. You're going to get tasks off track. Maybe stuff doesn't get scheduled. You're going to miss delivery times. I mean, for me, instituting simple processes like even a weekly check-in just for project management type of functionality was a game changer. Um, I don't know, I'd like to hear feedback from everybody, but like in the beginning, when it was just me doing all the projects, it wasn't such a big deal. But when I all of a sudden had a whole large group of other people working projects, leading some projects, for me to have a high level dashboard place where I could kind of see things was really important to kind of just get a pulse on where everything was, which project management software can help with. Or again, going back to it, you can even use things like Excel. So I know we'll get into
Mhm.
some products later, but a lot of that was sort of like just process driven, changing some behaviors of what we had in place, instituting, hey, we're going to have a check-in each week, give me an update, 15-minute call. This is not an hour going through the nitty gritty details that you might have with all of the resources on each team. But that for me was the biggest game changer in us getting things on track. Was literally a 15-minute call every Monday with my PM resources to kind of get, hey, this project on track, off track, what do you need next? Do you need me for anything? No, great. Hey, we're moving forward. Any scheduling questions? All right, move on. um, and we do that. We still do that. So we don't manage each and every project in Excel, but that just like dashboard view all the guys just update that spreadsheet that we manage centrally, and it's only 10 lines, maybe
Right.
15 with the active projects we've got right now, but it gives a really clear and simple snapshot. I don't know, what about you guys? From
Yeah, similar. I mean,
just
between very very simplified between spreadsheets and doing some of the work in teams and assigning tasks and having them assigned to specific people, and it kind of just flows down. And so there's never so in lieu of the weekly meetings, not that they're not necessary, but depending on the depth of or the scope of the project, you can do a simple list and have accountability with due dates, and real time that this is done on the due date. So you can kind of see that and know what's next if there's if there's equipment delays or stuff like that that is outside your control, and you can see how it impacts the deadline on the project, and if that has to be moved or changed, and then when do you let the client customer know that there's some change to it. But usually they're involved in some aspect of it as well, so there's that collaboration between everybody. But yeah, for us, we don't use a project management software right now.
well, you say you don't, but you already described the software that you're using. So, I mean,
Right.
you're leveraging teams and tasks and different things. I don't care, what, again, going back to it could be Excel, it could be Planner or some of the
Hmm.
tools within the Microsoft stack, could be Microsoft Project. If you're an IT provider, it could be the ConnectWise, the Autotasks, whatever else is out there. Like there's
Yeah.
so many plat. I'm trying to think of there's another software that Planner kind of mimics. It's not so big anymore, but a lot of marketing companies used to use it, and they call it something boards. There's all these boards that you can kind of move over between process, but like that's Planner. At the end of the day, it's just a process, and you're using something so you've got a visual on, where each task is right now. And
Right.
if you don't have those weekly meetings, like having the ability to go in there and know exactly, hey, who owns this task? What's the next step? Do I need to yell at anybody?
Right.
Or are
Right.
we
Right.
missing a deadline? Do I need to get on, somebody to get push the accountability there? It's important. But again, you're using something. You're using Planner at the end of the
Right.
day,
It is Planner.
which
Yeah. Yeah.
you're tracking the tasks. What,
Yep.
what about you, David?
Have you guys looked at the there's a like a Teams add-on for basically milestones, which is project
Yeah,
tracking. Have you seen that?
Is
I've
that what you're
looked at
using?
it.
Pretty nifty. It's made on the Power Platform. That's that
Yeah,
I started using that, and the reason I did is because when I saw, it's just weird how you know how the head works or the brain works, I guess. But we have the PSA and the Excel, and that's how we like just the same way you
yeah.
guys are describing it, right? It's in your PSA, you can track a project, you can assign tickets, you can put all the steps and all that kind of thing in there, build it out that way. If it's that involved of a project or that ongoing, right? If it's repetitive, then having something like that is nice because you can set up your templates, right? So the sales process software that I mentioned to you guys earlier has that same planning capability, right? That project capability tracking as well as then coming back quarterly. But milestones struck a nerve with me simply because we're looking at milestones to my head to cybersecurity, and I said, maybe I can use this thing here for tracking client progress, right? Towards their security plan implementation, towards their zero trust deployment, towards their, and of course, you can do all the other projects. So, and ramble, but that's what led me to this product. And so far, I've just done some simple little things with it. It seems to work very nicely. If you go to the screen very quickly and kind of show you a second what I'm talking about.
David, I think you're still having some connection issues, though. I don't know if if it's a good idea or not. You're cutting in and out a little bit still, and it's
The
a little
video's fine. If you
laggy.
want to try it and see,
Well,
it's up to you.
just look milestones is what I would tell you.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll
I'll try
provide a
and
little bit of additional color. We're always talking about Microsoft Stack, right? And I don't want to sound like a broken recording because we're always bringing that up, but a lot of our customers are obviously on Microsoft Stack. A lot of businesses are. The benefit of what David's mentioning is, so this milestones is like a combination of the backend tools um, for free, right? So the
Hmm.
what is it? Power Apps is what it's called, David.
Yep.
And the Power App brings in everything. So it's bringing in a
It's
couple different
Power
tools, and it's
Automate.
giving you a central, yeah, and it's giving you a central dashboard for all of that. So it's bringing in Planner and it's bringing in Power BI to give you reporting functionality and reminders via flows and all kinds of stuff. So you don't have to build any of that out manually. It's just a package you deploy, and boom, it's there.
Well, and the nice part is again, it's back in teams. Everything is teams.
Hmm.
Like I can have a team that's specific to projects alone, or I could have a team for different professional service teams, right? Or whatever I want. In there is the projects, right, that they're working on. And it's all in that one window where I'm still looking at, my PSA can drop a webhook into Teams. So if I'm seeing alerts or some high-end security breach, or we get a case created out of SIM or something along those lines, it comes in Slack or into our Teams. All that stuff, everything, our whole day is running right out of Teams. Everything. All the programs behind the scenes are bringing the data for presentation into that program, right? And I know we do beat out
What I'm
Microsoft, and that is our. Yeah, go ahead.
what I'm hearing with some of this in terms of like features that just, so when I'm thinking about a project management software, when I'm hearing some of what you guys are saying, um, I think real-time visibility into a project is important, or into all of your projects. Um, Especially Brian, you mentioned, hey, I can go in there and I can see at any given time who has something, what's going on. Accountability is really important, right? Um, I think having the high level view. So one nice thing about that milestones is you can have a big view, but you can also do deep level review over an actual task. So I think that's important when you're looking at a project management software. What other features like do you guys find important that people are evaluating when they're selecting something?
Well, I think it really depends on what what do you want to get out of it, right? And they may not even know specifically what they're looking for, or what maybe they're okay with just so the software itself will do some cool stuff. You can have your simplified for each employee. They have their own dashboard. They only see what they care about. They don't need to see all this historical data and what's down the pipe for other people. They want to see their own stuff. And maybe for on the engineer side of things, for us in our business, all they care about is what am I doing and when am I doing it, and that's all they see. And then they can fill out their notes. So it simplifies that process. So it's not so noisy for them to look at. Another piece would be, again, just the ability within the platform to assign roles. Maybe there's a managerial role who oversees these three people in this task, or this phase of the project, and then they pass it along to somebody else. So having that hierarchy structure built into it is something that I, especially on the construction side, and we have a retail client that uses. We'll get into some of the products, but Monday, they absolutely love it, and
Yeah.
they're like for their business.
Yeah.
I my first take on it was that that's a heavy product. Everyone I've spoken to, probably about 15 of his staff, absolutely love it. They can't live without it. So, and that was someone that came from doing things manually and with limited to no automation at all. And then project templates are important too. Like we can do
I,
even something like our onboarding process can be a project template. It's not just a checklist, but there's other things in flows. Who gets the licensing? Who does this? And so templates are another key feature that
well,
I
and it
think.
kicks off other projects,
True. Yeah.
No, that
right? Like
so
onboarding an employee kicks off a project for HR, kicks off a project for the training manager. Project, all the, all. It's not just one project. That's many projects.
Right. Getting equipment, phones, whatever else you need. Yeah. Stuff like that.
I would say what, yeah, what
no,
I
I
what
was
I have
just going to say
seen
that the powerful thing.
in
Sorry. Okay, I'll go.
go ahead, Brandon.
Um,
You're
the
good.
powerful thing about templates, is, so as a feature set, if you're looking at a product, to me, like that's a deal breaker if it's not there, because I mean, just from the ground up, when we're looking at process, that's part of our process. We're leveraging templates, because if you don't leverage templates, then every single time you're doing a project, it's being done a new way. And you can never
Yep.
streamline that process to be, hey, every single time I want X delivery, I want it to look like this, and I want it to look like this every time. You
It
can't
needs to
do
be
that unless you're following the
consistent.
same
Yeah.
exactly. And then you could look back at it and say, hey, I want to tweak something, but then you just edit it in the template once, right? And then every time you redeploy that project again, perfect. It's all updated. Sorry, David, go
I
ahead.
think it's as important. I was just going to say, I agree with that. And it's just as important because you don't want your team getting creative, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes we do, but like when we're doing multiple back-to-back projects, like, look, I'll equate it pretty simple. Back in the early days when we had a store, we used to build computers. And when we built computers, there was a very specific way that those computers were built. There was an order things were done. There was a way the cables inside got tied up, the way the things, you always put the floppy disk here, everything was a cylinder, and say something about the computer, and I could just tell them, no, this is and what it's like and how it's plugged in. I guarantee you, because this was times in a row, not just once, but every time, right? So that's the consistent. Sorry to ramble, but I've also found that when it comes to clients, project management software, you have two types. You have certified project managers who I won't even work with. And then you have people who want to get stuff done. And the reason I say that, that's a negative comment, but certified project manager, those are somebody who has like a master's degree in running projects, and they got a whole list of things that they're worrying about and caring about. And it's not that they're bad people or anything's wrong with that. There are places where that is incredibly important. Totally. But I'm not that guy, and I can't work with because I don't think, and I can't help them. I got to have somebody on my team take care of that. But most business clients, they need usable, right? Like look, Microsoft Dynamics CRM, pure package. You can RP but you got to have like a rocket scientist sitting there for years deploying that to get it the way it's supposed to be before the small business owner can make a dollar with it, right? I know that's an exaggeration, but I'm trying to just make the point. Somebody like Planner, Milestones, Monday, any of these other little packages where there are templates, people that before have created templates because frankly, we're business owners, we're not that creative. I don't know necessarily everything about one process or another. I want to hear what everybody else is. So when I see those templates, it helps me to think about how I can apply that to my business or to my flow. And it may not be precise, but it's a good start. Point is, if you're going to spend money on it and you're going to make it something you're going to use, right? The one that works is the one you'll use.
I think when
That's
it
it.
comes
I'm
to
done.
consistency with the templates and bringing that all together, so a lot of people don't think about it. So when they think of projects, they're thinking external projects for their customers a lot of times. We will even leverage projects for new employee onboarding. And hey, once the employee is onboarded, what about their roadmap, their growth roadmap? So every year we've got a project that we put an employee into that has, hey, this is what training, these are the phases that you need to go through. These are things you need to be working on. So we've got visibility across the board. Terminations, anything like that can be a project. And the
Job
benefit of
scorecard,
using
right?
project job scorecard, yeah. And it all ends up being then trackable, right? You get the same visibility, you get the same consistency. So every time somebody gets hired, hey, I know I need to order this box for them, or I need to get this for them, or set them up in this platform, and then things just don't get missed. I mean, that changed our entire customer onboarding, new hire,
I gotta
new hire
say,
onboarding, things like that.
right. Well, look, we've talked about it in past reboots, and I'm sure we will again. But with the market being the way it is, labor-wise, right? we have to find ways to automate things, right? We have to find
Yeah.
ways to take as much technology, repeatable process that we can, keep the human involvement, but you got to limit the need to spend that time, doing non-high value activities, right? Like that's what the automation's for. That's what the software takes care of.
So I know we're running
Man,
out
I'll
of
tell you,
time.
I
So
don't know.
I know we're running out of time. So there's just a little bit of connection issues. So I'm trying not to talk over you, Dave. Um, but when it comes to now products, we mentioned a whole bunch of products. So, there's Monday.com. You can leverage
HubSpot
Office 365, HubSpot, Teams.
projects, right?
There's so many products out there. Um, I mean, you won't have issues finding anything. The question is like, what should you be paying for? Or when do you know that you need to buy something? And should you buy something, or should you just use Excel, or should you just use Teams or Milestones or one of these products? Like, when do you need one of these other paid products?
Yeah, when there's I guess the key thing is really you're looking to not only streamline the process and be able to have accountability there, you want the ease of being able to pull up that project from anywhere. So, you want to go cloud based. You're not going to invest in something. I mean, maybe you are on prem, but it depends on the business need and who's involved. So and you're going to be paying for, maybe it's $5 a user is what I see out there for some of these pieces of software. But if you have something with a definitive start date, a deadline, an understanding of the goals in between those 2 points, and you have who's involved in that, that's a project. You need something to help facilitate and manage that. So you can do it like we were talking about. You can do it through spreadsheets and other means, but this, I think, has evolved so much to the anything can be a project, and it's, you're not I don't even think you're limited to how many projects you can have going concurrently. It's just a matter of using the software, embracing it, and then allowing it to kind of control and dictate the flow of the project.
I think you need to definitely get with whatever stakeholders will be using the platform, and like, what are requirements. I think reporting is going to be a big piece of what
Yeah,
will make it dependent on what you might want to select in a lot of cases, but budget being one. But I think that's a small issue or consideration with a lot of the PM softwares, because Monday.com, if you've got Office 365, you get a lot of functionality there for free. I mean, there's a lot of things that are
You
fairly
can
low
justify
cost.
the expense just in
Yeah,
efficiency savings.
oh yeah,
Any cost you're paying. So that should not be a point of
yeah.
contention.
yeah, I agree. I agree.
Certainly,
Um,
everybody has a budget, but you know,
I found that most of the software is going the same way as Adobe, Microsoft, and everything else. Is you can't buy the
Yeah.
PM software. You got to pay a monthly fee or an annual fee. Um, it just seems to be where all of the software industry is going. I don't know if you guys know of anything that you can still purchase when it comes to this, but what I recommend most clients use, honestly, is Planner, especially for like basic usage, because they've got it built out there. I I definitely need to invest some more time into Milestones, Dave. I know that because it's also free, but we just don't have the experience with it too much yet to provide a lot of guidance there.
And Planner, I think, is relatively easy to set
Oh
up.
yeah,
It's
very easy.
I don't put a lot into it. It's just it simplifies the process. It really
The,
does.
there's one other consideration we didn't talk about when it comes to the features. Just to go back for a second, depending on if you're a business that's leveraging third-party consultants or external resources and you want them to have visibility, that's also something to
Yeah,
consider. If you're using something like 365, you can definitely invite people. Monday.com, you can definitely invite people out there. I think
and they can only
most
see what
nowadays,
you want them to see in the project.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure. And I think most out there nowadays offer that, but that's something you should think about because that may be a deal breaker depending on what product it is that you're looking at.
yeah.
I don't know. Does Microsoft
sometimes
Project? even allow that? I'll call it the legacy, but I know they're trying to push that even web-based
Well,
now
we have a
more
client
with,
that they have 2 project licenses that are they're paying monthly for it. I don't, as far as external integration, just based on their business, I'm going to say yes, because there's a lot of collaboration with outside vendors and customers all over the world. So I'm going to say yes on that one.
I find when it comes to like a
Well,
customer
I
asking
mean,
about
project
project
is
or
web
something else,
based as well.
it is. Yeah, well, I say new, but it's
Yeah.
been developed now, web-based. Um, but a lot of it is
Right.
comfort level, right? Some
It's part
people are
of the
just
Office
more comfortable with
365
the
stuff.
project because they've been using it. So yeah, I think that's a big factor too.
Well, in that,
Cool.
the milestones and the planner kind of come from that flavor, right? Like they're lighter
Yeah.
versions, but they're similar in that, right? I don't know. Like when you get into project, that's where you get Gantt charts or whatever else they want to look at again
Yeah.
through the process. I just want to know who's doing what, where's the problem, are we making money or losing it? And so that's basically my simple approach. And I say for anybody in a company, start using something free. As you're using it and you grow and the need comes to bring other people into the project mix, you're going to need something a little bit more advanced, a little bit more complex. So it's going to maybe cost a couple bucks more, but you know what? It's going to be worth it because you're going to make money with the project and through efficiencies. So,
and then I think with any of these platforms, you can start at like an entry level package, and then as you maybe need more people or need to do things that aren't included in your base plan, you can just upgrade the bundle that you're paying for. So start with, even if it is paid, start with the lower one and see if it fits what you're doing.
So let me see if I got everything. Have a process in
I'll
place.
confirm. Go ahead.
Have a process in place. Use templates for God's sake. Like that is just for me, that was game changing. Use a product, and everybody's looking at price. I get it, especially now with everybody's worried about the economy, but like this is going to pay for itself. These are not big ticket item software. This is not a big ticket item software. So start with something free, and then over time, if you're growing out of it, get the Monday.coms or the Microsoft project or whatever it is, and the ROI on it is going to more than pay for itself. That was kind of what I jotted down as my notes as we were talking. I don't know if anybody has any other final words of wisdom.
No, I think you pretty much hit it. It's a good summary. I give you a B+.
just use something.
Yeah, I'm great. I know. Thank you.
All right, guys.
Get some internet.
Thanks.
Is what I got to do.
Yeah, you need to get some internet. Where are you, on Mars? Are you tuning in on Mars right now, Dave?
I mean, no, I got 300 gigs down. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
And 2 up.
300 gigs. Yeah, he is from Mars.
Literally. Well, no, I mean, normally it's very good, but like literally, Brian, we were talking right before I popped in, right? And then you guys were talking. I was like losing you, and I'm like, "Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And then it's just been, so something happened. I don't know.
All right, guys, we'll talk next week. See you then.
All right, guys.
Thanks, guys. Nice talking.